All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is going to be a reading for the sign of Leo for the month of May of 2023. If you're new, welcome. I hope you find what you're looking for in this message today. And if you do not, I do hope you find it elsewhere. If you are coming back, welcome back. Good to have you. Go ahead and hit that like button down below, or if you would like, leave a comment. Or you can check out what is down in the description box if you would like to follow me elsewhere on social media. We're just going to get into it. I feel like a lot of the focus for you guys in the month of May is actually going to be working through feelings of security, whether that is in like a financial career sense or just working through a sense of value. But let's see what the cards have to say on that. Okay, lots of talking. Okay. So we do have a lunar eclipse in Scorpio happening the first week of May. If you can think back to themes that you were dealing with at the end of October, beginning of November last year, you might see a repetitive theme around this eclipse. Maybe not to the same level of intensity, but there's still going to be similar themes there. On the bottom of the deck, we do have the square card in the reverse, which I love because that's a lack of tension. And the truth is that this eclipse will be squaring you. So maybe there's a way that you've either already worked through these fears because of what came up with the last eclipse, or you've really worked through how you handle things, or you've started doing things to improve whatever was going on around that time. We've got Chiron in the reverse. We've got the North Node. We have Virgo. And then we have Mars in the reverse. So to me, you are in big thinking mode and you are digesting quite a bit of stuff. I think you've done enough of your healing, whether that is mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, all the above. You've been processing a lot through these eclipses, once again, because they've been squaring you, whether they've been in the solar aspect or lunar aspect. You've been squared by it. So it's been causing challenges, it's been causing tension, it's been causing hesitation. I think that's the bigger part. There's been elements of hesitation that have been involved in it. So seeing this North Node and seeing Virgo here, I kind of love it because it has more of this practical feel to it as to what it is that you're going to do for yourself moving forward, right? What is your true north? What is your marker on your compass right now? What direction are you going in? Because our north node is our true direction in life. It's the direction we're meant to go in. It is the direction we are meant to thrive in and evolve into out of our south node elements. So a lot of times it requires us stepping outside of the box of who we have been. And I think maybe this month there's going to be stuff around that comes up, or there's going to be things that kind of interject in your life in some way. And who knows, maybe you're going to have to think about that, and maybe you're going to have to digest that in a mental way. You're just going to have to kind of sort through all of the information you have in front of you. Lots of thinking, lots of debating, and holding back. So we've got the Seven of Swords on the bottom of the deck, although oftentimes it is a card of deceit or someone holding things out of your line of sight. We have the Ten of Swords underneath that. So I think that there's this thing here around not necessarily self-sabotage, but maybe the fear that you have or the things that you tell yourself that realistically are lies are coming to an end. And I think you're doing that with how you process things. I think that you're coming to see that very particular things aren't true. Maybe you're not going through a repetitive situation. Maybe you're not going through something that reminds you of something you've already been through in the past. Now, unless it's incredibly unhealthy and toxic for you, then obviously let that go. But I just think that you're thinking. And I feel like maybe part of this thinking process also involves you not being able to communicate a lot of it. Maybe that's also why the Seven of Swords is here. Maybe the information that you're gathering or the way that you feel or the things that you're thinking about, you're not really as open to discuss those things just yet because you haven't quite figured it out yourself. We've got the Page of Pentacles, we have the Four of Swords, we have the Two of Pentacles, and we have the Strength card. So there is something that you're definitely hesitating on here, but I think it's hesitation with purpose. I don't think it's necessarily hesitation out of fear. I think that you are really looking at things, right, in a deep way. I think you're really taking your time processing how something makes you feel, or processing the possibility of something, or processing action or direction that you're going to be taking, because it seems like you're trying to figure out what it is that you're going to do, right? That, or maybe there are multiple things in your life that you cater to, or that you kind of have to juggle in your daily world, or keep afloat. But ultimately, with the Strength card, I feel like you're doing really well. I actually feel like part of what all of this is talking about is that you're really stepping into knowing how to be in alignment with life. I think that you're really learning when to hold back. I think you're really learning when to charge forward. I think you're learning to listen to your body. I think you're actually really learning to communicate very, very well with your body. Listening to the way that you feel, listening to when you need to rest, maybe not pushing yourself as hard. Knowing that if you have this buoyant, abundant energy, that maybe that's when you're like, okay, this is the time I need to use this to get things done. But it seems like no matter what it is that this is being applied to, you're really learning a very particular lesson with this. And I think that you're kind of learning that slow and steady wins the race. And I really love that. I think that's quite beautiful. So let's go ahead and clarify what this is about. But boy, are you taking your time. We also will have Mercury retrograde in Taurus until May the 15th. So that could also be why there's a lot of this energy of like pausing and really reflecting and thinking things through. Page of Swords in reverse on the bottom. What are you looking into, or what is looking into you? In some ways, it could be you watching what you're working on, or maybe somebody else is watching what you're working on. Or maybe this is something around revision here, like something being revised. Under the Page of Pentacles, we have the Eight of Swords. So I do think that there kind of is, once again, this pause and this fear that you're processing, or this fear that you're working through. And maybe it is around value. Maybe it's around next steps or directions in your life. And I think a reason why there's a lot of energy being utilized in terms of thinking through this, or really taking your time with it, or trying to find this way to like be in this symbiotic relationship with nature or the world around you, or the ebb and flow of everything, I think is because within that Four of Swords we see the Magician. And to me that's kind of like powering up, right? It's almost like you're trying to make sure that you contain and shift and move and figure out the energy and where you're wanting to put it, and getting it into alignment before you create this thing. Because that's the thing with the Magician card. If you're really wanting to create, if you're really wanting to pull this energy out of the ether into the physical body, create, and then gestate it and like put it out into the world, it's good to make sure that those key elements are aligned: your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, and then it will cultivate and create something as a result. So I think you're really thinking about this. Now, with this Two of Pentacles, we see the Emperor, which I find interesting. We also have the Seven of Swords here again. So there's something here about hidden information, or information that's being withheld for, it serves a particular purpose, in my opinion. With this, I don't necessarily see this as being deceit. I don't see it as someone pulling a fast one on you on purpose. I think it's more so like the Seven of Swords is here as this kind of symbolic experience of um, information being withheld and processed to serve a particular purpose. I think it's working through things. I think it's observing the things around you, or it's observing things or people in your life so you can really gain a greater understanding on what it is that you need to do next. Because with this Two of Pentacles and this Emperor, it's either someone wanting to offer you something and trying to figure out how to do that, or this is you being in that energy trying to figure out how to do that. I think you're trying to figure out how to get to either this status or we'll say this next level within something to experience some form of true stability or being able to kind of govern something very important to you in your life. Once again, whether this is business, whether it's career, um, maybe you're wanting to have uh, more power or more stability or be a stronger example within your relationships. Whatever the case, I think it's really important here. So whether this is you or whether this is another person who is wanting this, um, there kind of is this energy of trying to get things balanced out and trying to get things in order. And unfortunately, when we see the Two of Pentacles, to keep those things in balance, one has to be favored more than the other from time to time. So there is this element of maybe not as much attention being given to one thing, and then all of a sudden the attention returns to it. So there is that energy as well. We'll pull final clarifiers on this and then wrap things up. Wow. Okay, I'm going to pull one more card on this because this is the third time that we've gotten the Seven of Swords. All right. Very fascinating, I must say, having the Seven of Swords this much in a reading. Because once again, this does not feel like deceit to me. And I actually am going to pull a card from here to clarify that. What is the Seven of Swords? Yeah, that's what I thought. So strength and authentic expression are in the reverse when it comes to the Seven of Swords. I think that's part of the problem here. That's why I'm like, I think the Seven of Swords is more either like a lie that you're telling yourself, or it's like withholding information of some kind, because you don't feel confident enough in whatever it is that's going on. So that's why there's more of this mode of observation, of collection, of calculation, and really looking at the data in front of you before speaking up on it or before making a decision. Now, most people would perceive that as like looking at you and knowing that something's going on in your head that you're not talking about, right? So what is it that we naturally do, or what natural conclusion do we come to when people do that, or when people make that perception, or like make that, they look at us and they're like, oh, what's going on with you? And you're like, oh, it's fine. And then they're like, no, I know there's something going on. Why won't you talk to me about it? It's going to freak them out, right? Just like it would freak you out if somebody was being very resistant to talking to you about something. You would assume that it either is about you, or that it's something that's going to hurt you, or that it's something that's going to create harm in some way. And I just don't perceive that in this way. Because under the Page of Pentacles and the Eight of Swords, we have the Fool card. So this is hesitation and fear around a brand new beginning or a brand new cycle in your life. Maybe you're wanting to radically change things in your world. Maybe the decisions, whatever decisions you're having to make here, will require you to change absolutely everything. And that can be scary, right? That can create and generate a lot of fear, because maybe when you've done this in the past, it hasn't worked out very well for you. Or maybe when you've trusted your gut, it's all fallen apart. So I feel like in this experience, this is more about how you maneuver the experience yourself. What is it that you're creating and why? What is your intention through every step in the road? Because then we have the Four of Swords with the Magician with the Seven of Cups. It is excellent to be open to possibility. But if you do not have this pinpointed idea of what exactly it is that you're wanting to manifest and why, then there can be a whole lot of things that happen as a result, and a whole lot of doors that open, or a whole lot of things that come your way that are very hard to pick and choose from. And I don't think you exactly have that clarity yet, obviously, with the Seven of Swords here 3 times. I don't think you have that clarity yet. So with the Two of Pentacles and the Emperor, we have the Seven of Pentacles. Tons of sevens here. Funny. Just realized that as well. There's been a lot of thought put into this. Like, there's been a lot of going back and forth on something when it comes to this. And I think, like, really taking stock of one's environment, whether that's at home, whether it's at work, whether it's within group settings or relationships. I think that there's kind of like an inventory being taken here right now. And I think that that's why things feel so I don't want to say loose, but undefined. I think that's why things feel so undefined right now. But that's the interesting thing about that Strength card, I think, with the Seven of Swords, and consequently or subsequently the Hanged Man in reverse with the Seven of Swords, with the Four of Swords in reverse, and the King of Pentacles. I feel like ultimately there is this understanding that sometimes you don't need to know everything. And sometimes you don't have to have all the answers. Sometimes the only answer that you need is the one that you know to be true for yourself. And I think that's a big part of what's coming into play here, is that if you wait around forever, either you're going to miss the opportunity or someone is going to seize it from you. Or maybe waiting around really is this aspect of, I don't want to say feigning from making your own choices, but it's kind of feigning from taking a risk because you're afraid of the failure that comes with it, or potential failure. But this really is one of those things where it's like, if you don't invest and if you don't really give yourself to it, if you don't really give to it, I'm not going to say that you might lose it, but that it might escape you in some way. So I feel like this is more about waiting for this opportune time to either do something about this, or waiting for a very specific piece of information when it comes to this. Whatever it is, it has to do with some sort of wish fulfillment. Because when I just asked what the Seven of Swords is about, just with the tarot cards, I'm like, this is way too much. I think this is rooted in a deep system of belief that you can't have what you want. Like, I think you're actually kind of afraid of getting what you want. And I don't know if that's because of the responsibility that comes with it, or the way it will require you to show up, or the fear that somebody won't show up as equally dedicated as you are. But there is this thing around I think the truth is that you can have this. Whatever this dream is, whatever this feeling is, you can have this. And for some of you, because of the very obvious theme here, um, I think for some of you, somebody here thinks about you very deeply. And I mean, I do think there's some issues here with communication, but I think there's a lot that you don't know, and I think that's for the best. Okay, I think that's for the best. Yeah, I think that's for the best. We'll just say that. But just know that you are valued, and just know that I think you're worth more than you realize. But I think you are starting to realize that. Whatever you're working through in the Seven of Swords is pretty deep for you. Because another thing I can see here is somebody who feels robbed of quite a bit. I think you have felt robbed quite a bit. But in this moment, do not rob yourself of this opportunity, or do not rob yourself of whatever this is that you're wanting, because you can have it. Okay? See you guys next time.